Ever been absolutely convinced you were right about something, only to find out you were completely off? Maybe it was a memory from childhood, a scientific fact, or how some everyday object works. You were so sure, until you weren't. Don't worry, you're not alone. We all fall for it, again and again. In this video, we're diving into why we think we know more than we do. We'll explore the psychology of overconfidence, the flaws in memory, and the shortcuts your brain takes that lead you astray. This isn't just an intellectual exercise. It affects your decisions, your relationships, and how you see the world. Let's explore a strange phenomenon called the illusion of knowledge. The illusion of knowledge is a cognitive bias, basically a thinking trap. It makes us believe we understand something more deeply than we actually do. It's not about lying, it's about overestimating our understanding of things we've encountered before. A classic example? Try explaining how a zipper works, or how a toilet flushes. You've used them thousands of times. But when you try to break it down step by step, it's not so easy, is it? This bias was famously studied by psychologists Leonid Rosenblit and Frank Keel in 2002. They asked participants to rate their understanding of common objects. Then they asked them to explain how those objects actually worked. When people realized how little they could explain, they reduced their confidence scores dramatically. It turns out, being familiar with something doesn't mean we understand it. So, what's going on in our brains? Let's look at 3 powerful forces behind the illusion of knowledge. First, there's the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is a psychological phenomenon where people with low ability in a task overestimate their skill. The less you know, the more confident you might feel. Why? Because you don't know what you don't know. It's not arrogance, it's a kind of innocent ignorance. Second, our brains rely on heuristics, mental shortcuts that help us make quick judgments. Rather than deeply analyze every bit of information, we often go with what feels familiar, sounds true, or aligns with what others around us believe. It's a survival mechanism, but it can lead us to confuse fluency with truth, mistaking what's easy to recall for what's actually accurate. And third, our memories are far less reliable than we think. They aren't perfect recordings, they're reconstructions. We often misremember, fill in gaps, or even invent details without realizing it. That's why people can be so confident in completely false memories. So why does any of this matter? Because the illusion of knowledge shapes how we live and often misleads us. It's one of the root causes of misinformation, overconfidence, and bad decision-making. We assume we know enough to make important choices, to vote, to invest, to argue, to prescribe, to diagnose, or even to teach. But often we're standing on shaky ground. And this doesn't just affect individuals, it affects entire systems. Politics, education, medicine, science, journalism. When assumptions replace curiosity, systems fail. The danger isn't just ignorance, it's thinking you're informed when you're not. So, can we do anything about it? Yes. The good news is that awareness is the first weapon. Here's how to fight the illusion of knowledge. First, ask deeper questions. Instead of saying, "Yeah, I know that," try explaining it out loud. If you stumble, that's a clue to dig deeper. Second, talk to others. Expose yourself to different perspectives. You know, often our blind spots are obvious to others but invisible to us. Third, embrace uncertainty. Don't be afraid to say, "I don't know." Really, it's not weakness. It's actually a gateway to growth. And fourth, practice intellectual humility. Assume your understanding is incomplete and stay open to correction. That's not just wise. Honestly, it's how real learning begins. Next time you're absolutely sure about something, just, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, do I really understand this, or do I just think I do? Because the difference between ignorance and wisdom is knowing the limits of your own mind. The first step to knowledge is not certainty, it's curiosity. And if you've made it this far in the video, you've already taken that step. Remember, knowing what you don't know might be the smartest thing you ever learn. Thank you for watching.